I'm Michael Reagan, and I'm with Newt because he was there for us when we need a leader back in the 1990s. So why not be with him when he needs me and needs this party in 2012? I know people are saying that they didn't, or my father didn't mention Newt more than one time in his diary. He didn't mention Mitt Romney at all in his diary. There's a lot of people who didn't get mentioned, and maybe a lot of people didn't get mentioned enough. But remember, Ronald Reagan wasn't doing the editing. Someone else was editing the diary when it in fact came out. But where was Newt in the 80s? He was part of the Reagan Revolution. He was in the Congress of the United States of America. Where was he during the 1990s? He was the guy putting together the contract with America, being lifted up by all these naysayers. All the naysayers now were applauding him back in the 1990s. Thank you for giving us the first Republican majority in over 40 years. You know, as I said to someone, back in the 1990s, they were giving him a bar mitzvah. Why are they burning the chair today? I don't know why. Because they should be uplifting him and thanking him and paying back to him what he gave to us. 4 balanced budgets, welfare reform. And by the way, as I go around the country and people are talking about the problem in Washington where the Democrats and Republicans aren't working together, this is the man who actually worked with Democrats to reform welfare and balance the budgets. It was Bill Clinton, a Democrat in the White House, not a Republican. So he's done what everybody is looking for things to get done in Washington, D.C. He's the man that knows the inside, and he's the man who I believe can in fact do it. I think it's my duty to honor the man who's honored and done more for this party than anybody running for office today. One of the problems that I have seen over the last couple of elections with conservatives is they always seem to blame the media, for their loss. Well, the situation is when you have 3, 4, 5 conservatives running for the same position and one moderate or liberal, the moderate or liberal isn't splitting the vote with anybody. And conservatives end up splitting their own vote. Hence, John McCain gets the nomination in 2008. That's the reason he got the nomination. Now here we are today with more conservatives in the race, again splitting that vote and allowing Romney to in fact split the vote with no one. And the way I look at the election, and we've fought this battle for a long time, there are the Rockefeller Republicans, the elite Republicans, the East Coast Republicans, if you will, and there's the grassroots or the Reagan conservatives. And that's been a battle within the party for years. And in fact, during that period of time when my dad was running for president of the United States, even governor of California, the Rockefeller Republicans were completely against him. They didn't want him to win. My father was the original Tea Party. He's the guy that stepped forward with the grassroots back in the 1960s and then again in 1976 and 1980, brought the party together and won the presidency. It wasn't the Rockefeller Republicans that elected him. It was the conservative Reaganites. The Reagan Republicans, the people who do the work, those are the people who elected Ronald Reagan to the presidency in 1980, and those are the people that need to win it again. The reason it's so important to vote this next Tuesday and follow this through is I remember my father in 1976 when he was asked to come to a convention floor to speak to a nation. He had just lost the nomination of his party. He stepped to a microphone and looked at a nation and he talked about the bold colors, the difference between their party and our party. But he also talked about being asked to write a letter to be put into a time capsule that would be opened on the 300th anniversary of this nation. And he said, what a daunting task to write to a people who would know everything about us, but we knew nothing of them. And he said, what do I write about? And he said, do I write about the freedoms we enjoy today, knowing that if we do not make the right decision today, those who live on the 300th anniversary of this nation may very well not enjoy the freedom to open up the time capsule to find what I've written into it? That's how important this election is. It is truly about freedom. Are we going to keep the freedoms we have today, or are we going to keep losing our freedoms so that time capsule, in fact, is not open? Newt Gingrich understands that. He understands this is the battle for freedom. I want people to open up the time capsule, but I want people to do something else. When they go vote on Tuesday, I want them to also write a letter into their own time capsule and write to their children and grandchildren what they are doing to fight for freedom. If they want to truly be a Reaganite, write your own letter. Tell your next generation what you have done today to ensure their freedom tomorrow. Do that. And you won't have to look for Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan will be in your time capsule.